All right, we are on the hour, so we'll get things going for everyone that is already here. So I appreciate you all jumping in with me for our live webinar today. And again, for those folks that are live, feel free to use the chat or the Q&A section. And as you have those questions, please throw them in there, and happy to answer those as we go through because you're sacrificing some time to spend time with me today. So I want to make sure that I get all those questions answered. If you're watching in the replay, please like and subscribe, throw your comments down below. But we'll get things rolling. So today we're talking about photos and photo shoots within the shop. Are they important? Are they not? And if you do them, how do you prepare for them? So hopefully, again, that's what you signed up for today as we chat about what that needs to look like. Because one of the biggest pain points I hear all the time, or that we constantly get from a lot of our clients, is that we do not get enough new photos in the shop. And so we will talk about kind of how we can go about creating those. So again, agenda as we break it down, how to prep. So we're going to be talking about preparing your shop for a photo shoot, preparing the team, props, visuals, different things that you may need. Turning those photos then afterwards into assets, how you leverage them, and then common mistakes that we want everyone to avoid. So first off, why photos matter. And so again, your shop's image is your first impression, and on Google, photos are very important. And within your Google business profile, your map listing, you will see that when you say you type in your shop name in Google right now, and you go through and you see your Google business profile, immediately you see a big kind of section in that right-hand side that shows photos, and it goes through how many photos that you have. Hopefully that first photo isn't a photo that is like 10 years or older, but we do see a lot of that a lot of the time, because again, not everyone is good about taking new fresh photos, and then even when they take them, they're not taking the time to upload them onto the Google business profile. So you want to make sure that you are doing that. Another thing that I see a lot is when they acquire a new shop, they forget to upload, say, new signage and things. And so then there's photos from the old shop that's still sitting there. And so it creates confusion potentially for the customers, because they're like, oh, I thought this was this place. And I'm in the photo, and I'm seeing now a different place when I'm driving up to it. Maybe they think that's the wrong store. So you want to make sure that there is consistency there and there is recency, because the more recent and the more active you are with using, again, Google's product, the higher likelihood that you're going to have of, again, ranking better than your competitors in the area. Okay. And so when you Google your shop, do you see grainy old photos or high quality images that, again, you see and build that trust? Are you seeing not only photos that you upload yourself, are potential clients and customers, are they uploading photos, say, from their phone and things like that? It's always nice having that social proof from other individuals. So photos are often that first impression your potential customers get. And so you don't get a second chance at that first impression very often. And so you want to make sure that, again, the things that are there are popping off the screen, and it looks like, again, it maybe answers a lot of their fears of like, oh, is it a safe place? Is it a clean place? Who am I seeing when I'm walking through the doors? Is it a smiling face, etc.? Those are the different things that you want to think about as you're looking through your photos. And so what we've seen, at least in terms of action, shops with professional photos, or at least clearer photos, convert better. And so when you're using, again, a professional is ideal because the quality of the image is going to be high. But again, even some of the fancier smartphones these days, the quality of photo is done very, very well, as long as, again, you're taking the time to take a photo, say, at the right angle, and so on and so forth. And perfect. Yep, Dan, one of these photos are definitely your shop. There's going to be a bunch of shops rolling through here that we've used as examples of things that we've seen work really well in terms of conversions, mainly as we go through in terms of the impression share that we see on both Google Business Profile and social medias, and the different platforms there, and checking out, again, comparing click-through rates and booked appointments and things in terms of the imagery that's there, just so that way you all know the importance, again, of having photos. If usually what our rule of thumb is, what I try to tell people is, hey, 5 minutes a week, devote time to just taking photos, whether it's with your phone or not. And then once a quarter or once every 6 months, try to get a professional in there to take, again, a good sweeping list of photos. And the photos don't always just need to be the outside the building, inside the lobby, etc. You want them to get back there and take pictures of actual cars and lifts and doing certain services so that you can apply those services to the different pages on the website and also the different service breakdowns within your Google Business Profile. There's a lot of ways that you can leverage it, and the way that Google is analyzing the photos now, again, helps them see and to pretty much take their best guess at what's happening there. And you want the best guess to be correlated to some of the keywords that you're trying to rank for. So definitely, again, there's a big difference when you're looking at the level of photos that are there. So again, quick examples of use of professional photos and what the kind of that view and impression rate can look like in comparison to use of organic. Still an organic photo, but non-professional. And so you might have sometimes where you have glare marks, or there's a little bit of blurriness or graininess that happens in there. It's just not proper editing that's taking place. Typically that view share isn't quite as high. And so again, as you are building your audience, you want to have real organic photos. You don't want to have anything that looks too staged, but at the same time, the crisper, the clearer that they are, the higher likelihood that the social media algorithm of wherever you're posting things to are going to make them appear more often, because it can tell that it is a clearer picture or at least maybe a greater value add that's happening there. So let's talk about preparing the shop for the shoot and what you need. Because again, you take the effort to actually, hey, I'm going to get a photographer. They're going to show up. Do I need to clean everything? What does that need to look like? So let's chat about, again, some different things that you want to do there. So first and foremost, absolutely clean the shop. So you see different photos here as examples that are in the shop. Most people think that, oh, I only need to clean maybe the lift, or I need to clean this little area that's maybe underneath the car. But the workstations, the things on the walls, etc., are all seen quite a bit of times in varying different angles as you take pictures throughout the shop. And so really, you want to make sure everything is tidy and nothing has a depiction of, say, uncleanliness or maybe a lower quality of care that's seen back there. Yes, you have some people maybe don't have customers or don't allow them to walk in the back, and so they feel like, oh, it doesn't really matter what it looks like. But when you take photos, you absolutely want to have examples of different vehicles that you're servicing. And so in order to show examples of different vehicles that you're servicing, you'll need to take pictures in the back end of your shop. And now if you're taking it, I assume that you'd rather present something that looks more professional, looks more clean. So again, across the board, yes, if you haven't done it in a while, it's that initial clean is going to take a lot more time. But once you make that initial clean, then create a regular habit of making it, again, a more regular activity. So that way, when this happens, it isn't a huge deal and a backbreaker that you're like, oh my goodness, I have to go and clean the whole shop again. Like, no, if it's a regular habit for your team to do, and it's, again, maybe you incentivize in the beginning to keep your area tidy and clean, then it makes life easier across the board for everyone. So customers typically associate a clean shop with quality service. Again, it's that initial impression when you walk in. If you were to walk into, again, any store and you see kind of paper stacked up high right in front of you, things maybe are like, you see dust and dirt all piled across the ground, chairs are wobbly, and again, across the board, you probably will think, I don't know if this business really cares about what they're doing. Maybe I'm not going to come back here again. That's not the impression that you want to leave with any customer. And so again, I think cleanliness is a low-hanging fruit activity that, yes, it's not the money maker, so to say, of like, oh, I don't see a direct RO correlated to the service of cleaning the shop, but that customer retention definitely plays a big factor and definitely helps when it comes time to take pictures, that you're not having to do a big sweeping change there. So hopefully that makes sense in terms of that common ground of cleaning the shop. For those that are here, how often do you all clean the shop, if ever? Like, do you guys do once a week? Do you guys do once a month? Every day? I'd love to see in the comments in terms of what you all are kind of the best practice that you have at your shop for sort of cleanliness. What do you expect for them? And again, I'll keep going as we go along and as we read enough, as we read through these. But Someone says not enough. That's for sure. Yeah. So again, it's good to be aware in terms of the level of cleanliness. But yeah, I would love to see as you guys that are all here chat about what you sort of do. And again, there's no finger pointing that's going to happen here. I'm not going to come check. Andy says we keep a very clean shop and clients respond to it. Absolutely. And I know you do, Andy. That's for sure. You run a very, very high quality Euro store. And so I think, and also there's also that expectation for Euro customers. But I think the same for General Auto. It shouldn't be any different in my opinion. Like, yes, you are serving maybe a slightly different expectation for the customer, but still by having that, you can blow them away, I think, even more. Garen mentioned that every Friday at 4:30 we clean for the next week. I love that. So again, it doesn't always have to be every single day. It can be we schedule this time out once a week to make sure that we're fully prepared for the next week. And again, it doesn't allow this big buildup to take place. So perfect, awesome. So not only are you cleaning for the photo, but like if I know a lot of people nowadays don't allow waiters, and they're like, so because they don't allow waiters, that like it doesn't really matter that much what the waiting like is there in place. Again, picture of something looking clean and tidy makes a big difference for people. At least it gives them maybe a mental option of like, hey, like if I'm in a pickle, I can absolutely go in there and stay because I feel comfortable staying in there, comparative to maybe that misnomer that maybe a lot of people have about just auto repair shops in general of like, oh, it's very dirty and I don't have time to go sit in there and I don't want to bother with it. So, and he also mentioned we host several events through the year, helps to spur the, yep, absolutely. And so hosting events, there also incentivizes to make sure that the cleanliness stays top notch. So I love that. In addition to cleaning, what is a way we could do something in our waiting room to set apart our shop? Oh, I think that's a great question. And for those that are here, I would love to hear your responses. Like what are things that you all do in your waiting rooms to set it apart? I've heard about a bunch of different things, and in terms of some people like to create a feel in the waiting room where it's honestly not automotive related at all. They're like, hey, we go to the home goods store and we're like, hey, we're gonna just get different pictures that would fit the kind of everyday decoration that's in there. And maybe you have a high female clientele, and so that's the way that you need to lay out your waiting room in terms of when that type of individual comes in, does it feel homey to them? Someone even mentioned just a simple thing by putting racks in or little hooks in the bathroom where like they would have to hang up their diaper bag or things like that. Little things that make a big difference, make a big impact where it's going to be appreciated a lot over time. So those are different things to think about there. But if anyone else has different ideas of, hey, ways to set the waiting room apart or different things that you all do, I'd love to hear it. Throw it in the chat, and let's make sure we're sharing those ideas. I'll make sure I say those out loud as well, so that way for those people that watch the replay, they can hear about these ideas. Here we mentioned provide women's magazines in the waiting area. Yeah, so I love that. Don't just put the latest say car show magazine or whatever it kind of typically is when you go into these different places. Sprinkle in different women's magazines and whatever, again, will relate to any individual that rolls in there, so that there's options across the board. So again, back to the waiting room, you want to make sure you wipe down counters, straighten magazines. If you have coffee stations, make sure those are clean and regularly, again, tidied up and updated. That's one area I think can get left for naught, especially if, say, a lot of your team members don't even use it. So it's really only a customer thing that they use. Then it's not like a regular thing to think about to clean it up. So make sure that you're looking at those kind of extras that you're leaving for the customers. But if it's a mess, really it's creating even a deeper negative impact. So you want to make sure you're looking at everything. Remove outdated signs. If things are starting to peel off the walls, make sure you slap some paint on there. Little things make a big impact. Here we have, I don't have any or very little typical shop automotive paraphernalia in the waiting room. No tires, wiper blades, shock displays. Keep it clean. Yeah, I love that. Again, that stuff doesn't need to be in there. It's not like someone was dying to wait in the waiting room to look at a bunch of wiper blades and tires that are sitting there. That they know what they're there for. They don't also need to stare at it. And so that's where you want to make sure that you are creating the right vibe and feel for your everyday customer that's coming through. Karen mentions have your wife walk through and have her comment on what would make her feel comfortable. I love that. So have that other perspective of like your spouse walks through, and again, or vice versa, whichever one is running the shop or not. They have both sides walk through and say what would appeal to them and what else needs to be in there. But again, that female perspective, I think, makes a huge world of a difference, because at least in my life, what my wife says makes way more sense than what I would say. So I think it pays the bills for sure to make sure that you're listening there, and the impact that will be had. Because again, many corrections will be had, especially if you're a male. You do not assume you know what the female will like. Like you don't know. So just ask. And if you do not have a person that's close, ask a customer that say, hey, is there anything that I can improve in here? Like again, it doesn't hurt to get that feedback, and now then they know that you're listening and you care. So, and then now the outside. So not only do we want to clean the inside, we need to clean up the outside, and what the curb appeal looks like. And so you want to make sure any outside signage is clean. Here, if you have a flag, make sure it's not an old flag that you've had up for years and years that's now faded or rotted out because it's just been out and through the weather. Get a fresh new one. Make sure everything is nice and clean and tidied up. Now I know kind of repaving and things like that costs a pretty penny. And so that's a different thing where you'll need to, again, budget accordingly. Make sure you're saving up in order to do those once every so often. But don't just say, hey, we did it in the very beginning, that's the only time we need to do it. Like, no, you want to make sure things look clean, professional at all times. But again, for those photos, that makes a big difference. And you want to make sure you get it. Say you get a repaving, or you get something done, like neatly done on the outside that you've invested a good amount of dollars for. Get a picture immediately when it's done, because that's the cleanest and the freshest that it'll ever be. And then you make sure you get that online, and that way you can leverage that. And people will still know it's a shop, but then that first impression that they see online is still at its cleanest point that you had it. So make sure you're taking care of those things across the board. So now that we prepared the shop, and so we tidied up the inside, we looked at the outside. Again, maybe you drove by a few times and okay, this looks good. I like this. I'm proud of this. Now though, you gotta talk to your team. Not every team member is super comfortable taking pictures. There's always this slight awkwardness because they're not used to it. They're not paid actors or anything like that. They're your team members through and through. And so preparing them is important to also get the best bang out of the photos and make sure they're bought in. And so they know that, hey, today we are doing pictures. We need to make sure that we are wearing uniforms or we're looking consistent in terms of our logo branding. So that way, when we post this, it looks, again, having that consistent team environment. It's nice if you already have that implemented every day. And so then that way there isn't a sudden differing expectation where, hey, because we're doing photos, that's why we dressed up. Like, no, if it's already regular practice, then that's awesome. And there's just kind of a higher level standard that is there. But if not, at the very least for the photos, make sure that you have that consistency of brand, because you have one chance again to represent your own brand. You don't want a bunch of different people here in this picture just wearing whatever clothing attire that they want, different colors, nothing matches, and let alone matches with your own brand. So make sure that you have that discussion with them, have a meeting, show examples of like, hey, this is what we are planning on, the different photos we're planning on taking. This is what we're expecting everyone to wear tomorrow. So make sure that, hey, we are prepared, and this is what, because if you don't have this on, you are going back home and you're changing or whatever it may be, because we're not wasting our money spending time to take photos to set us apart that way. So make sure, again, that consistency of attire is done. Make sure you have, again, attire ordered if you've never given anything to your team, so that way you have your logos throughout. So grooming and presentation, another big element that's maybe you don't typically hone down on too much, where you want to make sure facial hair, haircuts, things along those lines are tidied up. Or if the haircut isn't tidy, you have a branded hat that they can wear at the very least. So that way, again, you have this clean, professional look. It doesn't look like what sometimes, again, is the misnomer on the industry, where it's just like a grimy, dirty type of place. Like, no, like this is a very highly qualified business here to take care of their vehicle at a very, very high level. Thus, everyone looks accordingly of this high expectation. And so then again, if things look a certain way for people and your price point is not the lowest in town, that correlates in their mind and makes sense. They're like, oh my goodness, like, yes, when I go in there, this level of professional ability is way higher than I expected, or way higher than this other cheapo place that I went to down the street. But I feel good being here. Maybe they feel like they're a little bit in more of a ritzy place. Like, people like to feel elevated in that sense, and it kind of almost introduced into a world that they typically don't spend their time in. And so creating that environment is one way to kind of make that big impact, and also makes the price competitiveness that maybe is a hindrance for people start to go away, because they just have that mental expectation of like, oh, they take things seriously here, so I need to know that what to expect going in and out. But so small details matter here: clean hats, tucked in shirts, neat hair, things that show professionalism. You don't need to have everyone wearing a collared shirt and a tie and a button up and a suit or anything like that. Like, no, you don't need to go above and beyond of what is normal in the shop. But the little things here kind of make a big difference. And make sure that they are prepared to smile. Like, I think that's one thing where some people aren't as comfortable smiling, but again, a friendly face makes a big difference in my opinion. If everyone is just a neutral face and looks serious, and maybe that's the culture that you created, and that's one thing. But in my opinion, I think smiling makes a way bigger impact than, say, in simple things like if you're sending out mailers, or it's like the first photo on a website. Like, a smiling picture versus one that like everyone looks stone cold serious, like that isn't going to resonate with as many people, in my opinion, as it would when someone is smiling and friendly. And that's someplace that you kind of want to go, because that typically is the type of people that you want to be around. Okay. So team energy. So that's another big thing. So with photos, a lot of the times people get shy and stiff and timid. So make sure that you understand your team and how to get that looseness out of them. And so in terms of different jokes that you may have to crack, and make sure that you as the owner, like, and if you're a part of this, you are taking this seriously too. It's not just like oh, you're super shy and timid in this, and that's going to reflect the rest of the team as well, because they're going to feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't be super outgoing too because the boss isn't. Like, no, you want to make sure that you are bringing the energy yourself. And if everyone is a slightly step below that, that's okay, because you know that then they are like that, still that overall smile and seriousness of the photo shoot, but also playfulness is going to be there, because they can see that you are doing it yourself. So genuine smile, again, says more than any stage photo ever could. So it's going to take a little bit of time to warm up into it, but the more encouragement that you give to your team, the better energy that you are giving off, the better energy that they're going to have, the better the photos are going to come out. Again, there's a whole range of things of photos that I've seen, and some are like, oof, like, you probably wasted some money here, because no one looks very happy, or everyone looks very stiff and fake, and they're like, you can see in their face they were ready for this to be done. Like, no, have fun with it, create a thing, and that way, once you're able to put it online, you know that it's going to be a happy product at the end of the day that people will enjoy seeing and looking at. So these are again varying different examples of smiling. Look, and you can see that they don't always have to be looking at the camera. They can be doing something and looking at each other, or doing what their job would be. And yes, maybe while you're doing the job, you're not normally smiling like that, but that is received way better from your customers and audience as they're going through that, because then again, they start to feel comfortable and know that the faces that are there are going to be friendly. Okay. So props and visuals. So sometimes people are like, well, are there certain tools that I need to bring out? Are there certain things that I need to buy I've seen these different things going around on social media that are trendy with these different props. Do I need to bring those? Like, all right, let's chat about what we actually need to do here. So first and foremost, I don't think it hurts to showcase tools and tech that you've all probably invested a lot of money in the different things that are there. Show it off. So in order to show it off, though, you want to make sure that they are clean and that everything is organized. But those different things, again, show the level of professionalism that sets your shop apart from others. And so, like, yeah, if you have different tech that you're leveraging, you have different, again, you say you brought a brand new alignment rack and you're like, that thing was expensive. Like, let's take a fancy photo with a car on it and again, blast that online and make sure that you're leveraging and making sure you're sharing those things and how serious that you are taking cars in town, and that directly correlates. And you don't always need to say, oh, well, hey, I bought this $100,000 machine, and so that's why I'm taking a picture of it. Like, no, but people can see, again, when you're buying something expensive and it looks serious, they know. And so you want to make sure then that you're displaying that in the right way. All right, and then highlighting vehicles. So that in and of itself is a prop, like the different vehicles that are there. So one, I think people sometimes get into the habit of only taking pictures of the fanciest ones because they look the best. And absolutely that resonates. Like, people like looking at fancy cars because, again, it's one of those things where it's like, oh, it's slightly maybe out of their reach or a dream vehicle, and so they like looking at that, like, oh, this is what I could have, and oh, that car is at this shop. But at the same time, if that's not a normal vehicle that you are servicing all the time, and that's not the bread and butter, then that also shouldn't be majority of the photos. You want to have majority of the photos be the typical vehicle that you are servicing. And so say it's a family SUV or the soccer mom van, or you're like, nope, this type of truck is what typically comes in. Make sure that you know when those are going to be coming through. You're able to gauge out schedule appointments, and you can dictate what is coming in that certain day. So make sure that is taking place ahead of time, so that way that type of vehicle will be featured in different photos and will help, again, resonate with majority of the people. So that way, as Google is scanning the photo, it sees that, oh, yep, they do repairs on a Toyota Camry, and that was what was in the photo. So now when people are starting to type it in, there's more photos correlated to that search term, higher chance that you're going to rank in the maps. So different little things there, but the more different vehicles that you have being serviced, featured within your Google Business profile, the stronger it's going to be. Also, then having those photos of those given vehicles, say on vehicle pages on your website, another powerful thing. You have that direct correlation of the right vehicle being on the right vehicle page. Again, those all make impacts over time. And will you have all of the vehicle types that you service on one photo shoot? Absolutely not. But that's where the consistency comes in terms of, hey, every week, if we are devoting time to just, again, at least snap a few photos, then you start building this kind of almost this database of photos that you're able to regularly upload, blends in with both, say, phone photos along with professional photos, and creates a very, very welcoming dynamic within your profile. If there are brands that want to show you that you specialize and get lots of pictures of working on those brands. So exactly that. That's the biggest thing I want to share, because sometimes when that one fancy vehicle comes through, people are like, I need to take a picture of this and show it off. Look at what came through. And that is great. But people sometimes only take those pictures when only those come through, and they're not the most common vehicles that they service. Creates the wrong idea of like, oh, maybe someone feels like, oh, my car's too little for them, or it's too low quality, and I'm almost embarrassed to bring it there because, again, it looks like they only work on fancy things, when that could be further from the truth. Okay, so just make sure you're thinking about those different things that are going through. And then action shots. So the action shot should be pictures of doing actual services that you perform. Shouldn't just be nonsense of just like they're holding a random tool in their hand looking at the engine. Like, no, like it should be an actual service that is performed. One, a service where they're under a vehicle works very well. Again, it kind of encompasses, you both have the car, you have the service, you have the person. And so it covers all pictures there, and almost makes it a little bit more intimate in the sense of, again, you don't have the full background of the shop. And so it's a more close-up picture of what is taking place. So this type of picture does work really well, and that's why you see a lot of stock photos that are this way, where there's someone underneath the vehicle looking at something with a light or whatever it may be, because that works absolutely. But ideally, you don't have to leverage a stock photo to do that. You have a real team member that's going to be leveraging that. That's why we stopped doing that. Learned that from you guys in ShopFix. So awesome. I'm not sure stop doing photos of the exotic cars. Okay, I forgot what I only read the comment now, Dan. So my apologies. I forgot what you were saying. You stopped doing, but yeah, absolutely. Like, not always taking pictures of the fancy thing. But yeah, so in terms of, again, what the techs are going to do, what I would recommend is, before the photo shoot even comes to be, write down the services that you're gonna want pictures of and happening. That way you're not in the moment like, oh, that car wasn't even needing that service, and thus where, like, oh, you're a bit scrambling in terms of how to take the picture. Like, no, like, have an idea of exactly the types of services you're going to need pictures of. The easiest way is to look at your website, look at Google Business Profile, the services, and which pictures do I not have yet, and then make sure that you're getting that type of picture. And then when you also tag your image, you're tagging it with the service. Makes it just a little bit simpler for Google to read and understand. But again, it's AI algorithm of scanning imagery is very good now, so it can pretty much tell what is happening there. So just make sure that you are then accumulating, same way that you'd be accumulating vehicles that you service, you're accumulating shots of different services that you do, and then eventually you'll have multiple of each type of service, different team members within each, because not that same team member doesn't always stay the whole time. And so then now you need to swap out the image because you're like, I don't want to have an old employee on there. So make sure that, again, you are just mixing that all up consistently and getting a wide array of those different action shots. So again, not really a prop that's needed. You already have the tools and the vehicles that are going to show up. You just need to put your team in the right position and make sure that they're aware of, this is all I want you to do. Show examples of pictures that, hey, this is what the picture is kind of going to look like. So this is like really the positioning of what, just do your job of what you normally do. Don't really look like you're staring at the camera or anything, and we'll get the shot. Makes it look more candid. All right, so real work in motion. So different things that you can see here. And when you take a picture, there's different, again, editing that can be done if you're leveraging the black and white style or whatever it may be. But again, having different things happening allows for the marketing team or yourself to really edit it, play with it, create a brand story throughout your online presence. All right, so now that we have them prepared, we want to make sure that you are then leveraging these photos in the right way. We need to turn these photos into assets for yourself. So the question becomes, like, where do I put them? How do I know that I'm putting them in the right place? So first and foremost, we want to get this on the website. So your website is going to be that online storefront, in a sense of, let's rip out all those stock photos if that's what you originally paid for. And so you say you paid someone to build a quick and easy website. You're like, you can just leverage the stock photos. I don't really have photos of my team, and it's all messy anyways. So let's just leverage stock photos. That's fine in the very, very initial piece, but ideally you have strictly only organic photos on your website, because that resonates way better and creates a proper expectation of what's to come. Because when someone sees a face and on the website and they show up and they see that same face, they're like, oh, that's really cool. I saw that online, and that's who's going to be taking care of me. Versus oh, I've seen that face of that person on like 7 different websites that as I was going through, or the different imagery that's been uploaded, and I don't even know I don't know if I can trust what I'm going to go through and see. So you want to make sure that, again, you're replacing all those across the board. If you do have stock images, I mean, honestly, just go through your websites, make sure that you're looking at all the different ones and saying, like, oh, am I able to replace this with an organic photo? More than likely you can. And so make sure that you're thinking about those things down the road. So that way you have a completely clean, organic, real image based website. And again, real imagery ranks and appears way better for Google than stock images, because again, it's not going to be a photo that is represented anywhere else with any other shop. Like a stock image could be in a bunch of different places across the entire United States, let alone your competitor down the street could use that same stock photo. So you want to make sure that you're creating that organicness. Then on the Google Business Profile, that's going to be absolutely a huge place to put it. So sometimes people only think that, oh, I'm only going to get these images up on the website. But no, we need to get these images on the Google Business Profile, because at the end of the day, you need your Google Business Profile to rank. That's going to be the most important thing that does rank, and photos absolutely do matter. Are photos the number one thing that affects ranking? No, but it is one of a list of a whole host of things that do affect it. Granted, at different weighted elements, but if you don't do photos at all, then you know that you're not getting any, you have no chance of getting any gain on that local SEO side of things versus if you are doing something. So make sure that you are taking those photos, you're uploading them in there regularly, and then that just creates this database for Google to be able to field and read things through. Because when people search things in Google, yes, they typically are looking through the maps, looking through the website listing, but they can click on that image button. Say they click it by accident and they click on the images. There's now a whole new ranking list for what, say they looked in auto repair in your area. There's a whole new list of images that are, again, ranking organically via SEO. So that doesn't happen very often where people search it that way, but it can. And why not create an element where you now, because you have more photos than your peers, you are always the one ranking consistently above them in that format. And then you want to make sure that you're getting these on social. So I know not everyone is consistent about posting on social, but again, you spent good time and most likely money in getting these nice photos. Make sure that you're getting them blasted out across the board in different places and in different ways, and how it, again, links back to your consistent brand of shop, because it will only make a further impact down the road. Because if you're not doing that, you're not taking advantage of all the different elements that you can do to build that trust with your customer base, or with ideally future customers. And then in emails, so not many people think to leverage photos within their emails, but absolutely, having a photo within an email creates a much higher likelihood of people actually reading the email. And so having those in there, again, familiar faces, real photos, makes a much deeper impact, and higher likelihood that it's not labeled as spam as well. And then ads and promotions. So leveraging these different photos as ads in different ways. Again, having that clean, professional photo has a way higher likelihood of reaching the audience that you want to reach and creating the actions that you want to create, versus something that is going to be grainy or blurry, or that you tried to edit afterwards to make it look a little bit more professional. Like, no, like a clean photo can stand on its own, and then you slap your logo on there, etc. And it just, as people are scrolling, they're more likely to stop on a photo that like stands out and looks good, versus one that doesn't, because there's a lot of those as you scroll through social. So make sure that you are leveraging the right ones within your different ad campaigns. So hopefully that is a good amount that we've covered so far. Again, as you have questions or any additional comments, please continue to leverage the chat. I appreciate everyone that has leveraged them so far, but I'll continue on in terms of talking about common mistakes we want to avoid. I think I've sort of mingled those in as I've been talking, and so we may be a little bit redundant here, but again, we want to make sure we avoid those mistakes and you're not wasting time and money when a photographer does come through. So don't wait until the last minute. I think you all are busy and we all procrastinate, but you want to make sure that there is prep that is taking place. So I think the different prep we've already talked about is prepping the shop, making sure it's clean and tidy, prepping your team, making sure they're prepared, properly groomed, know what to expect going forward. And that way, again, like I mentioned, ideally you write down the list of all the photos that you're expecting them to take. because a photographer, like, there's not many photographers that only shoot pictures of auto repair shops across the nation. That's not going to be a thing. I don't know if it's a viable business model at all. So it's going to be a local photographer ideally, and now their level of professionalism is going to vary, but what they probably won't know is the type of pictures that you're wanting. They may Google some other websites and be like, oh, I saw this one, so maybe we're going to do this type. But you're the shop owner. Ideally, you are creating that expectation. And they'll listen and be like, hey, I need to have this photo, this photo, this photo, this photo. And then again, if there's any fun ones that you think of, absolutely bring it up. But these are bare minimum. I need to have these covered. That ideally you send that to the photographer beforehand. And that way they know, again, what to expect. And they're aware of the different places that they'll be going around the shop. And maybe even before they address the people inside the shop, they are able to take all the photos outside because they already know what you're wanting. So those are going to be big things in terms of prepping. So don't overstage, keep it natural. So you don't want to already, again, have that perfect area that you're thinking that they're gonna be taking a picture in, just across the board. We don't want stiffness, we don't want fakeness. Just have it be as natural as can be, because of that authenticism will reverberate through a photo. People can tell when it's a little bit stiff or staged, and it's okay to have a few of these, but create a good amount of candid ones that gives a real vibe of what the shop is going to be like. And then don't forget the details, again, little things in the background. That's going to be the biggest that I want to make sure that people are recognizing. Like background on the floor, on the walls, like on desks. Like make sure that everything, again, across the board is clean and taken care of to the best of your abilities. And because that sometimes is what stands out to people when they do take a picture. It's like, oh, they noticed this weird thing way in the back corner because it was just an absolute mess, versus like actually paying attention to what you are wanting them to look at in the picture. So before versus after. So here's an example of, like, again, a quick photo that was had for a shop. Very grainy, basic. At least it's something, but again, it's not as high quality, versus the after, where now we have, boom, car in the front, clear imagery of what the shop is. Outside looks nice and clean, has the logo, etc. So we have a big difference in terms of what is that original image that's going to happen there. So again, checklist, here it is. So clean bays, organized tools, tidy waiting room, clean outside signage. At a very basic level, that's what you want to go through. And if you do just these 4 things, you'll be miles ahead of most individuals, and the photographer will be plenty impressed that, hey, these people are prepared and they actually take what I'm coming to do seriously. Because I'm sure most of the time when people come and do business photos, the photographer shows up, they're like, oh my goodness, I forgot you were showing up today. And yeah, so like, okay, I'll try to get the team the best I can together, and we'll huddle over here, and everyone was in the middle of working, and so they're scrambling. No, like let's not create that situation for them and yourself, so that way you have the best outcome of result. Because if you show that you're taking their time seriously, I'm sure they're going to take your time seriously as well, and the quality then is that much better. So day of photo shoot checklist on photo day. Make sure everyone arrives early. Do a final sweep, final check. Have a couple vehicles stage in the sense of the types that you want to have there. So that's the one thing where you can still have it then in action in terms of going up in the lift. You know what services need to be had, but those right types of vehicles, that's where that one element of staging that I would recommend doing. Remind your team to smile and relax. That's going to be, again, the biggest thing. It's not like we're going to talk about millions and millions of people are going to be looking at this, but no, you want to make sure that they're just comfortable, and hey, we want to just show people how amazing you all are. So that's why we are doing what we're doing, kind of deal. So key takeaways: Photos equals trust and growth. Higher quality photos aren't just nice to have, they build trust. And trust means the customer shows up more than once, because it's hard enough to get a customer to show up. We want them to come back every single month, or not every single month, but every single time they decide to choose to come to an auto repair shop. And so the little things are going to make a big impact here. And that's the whole purpose of why the photos are going to be taking place. Your brand deserves better photos. So in a competitive market, having professional photos is one level up that most of your competitors are not taking the time to do, because they probably think, oh, it's not necessary. No one looks at my website anyways, and no one cares about my photos. And that's fine for them to think that way, but why not think differently and be like, no, I'm clearly going to be the best place for people to go in town. And these are all the different elements that I'm doing to set our shop apart. And we're taking the time to do those things. And so, again, we know it is tough to keep up with taking photos. And we've been helping shops for a long time. And one of the hardest things is to get photos from them. Like, bar none. Probably the most common reminder that we have to make all the time, and probably the most common mistake that I see all the time in different Google business profiles, is that like the most recent photo is more than 5 years ago. And like, that is a long time. And I'm sure there's been photos taken since then and they just weren't uploaded, but sometimes too, like, people just don't think about taking photos. And so it does move the needle, but it needs to be a recurring action that continues to happen. And so if you devote to doing that, I promise that you will see much bigger rewards come to fruition from this action. It's not just a one-time deal. And so what we can do also, and so we found this to be, again, a big struggle for a lot of people. And so what we're doing here is really helping streamline the entire process if needed for people, in terms of, hey, we will go through, find the photographer, we will go through and make sure the photos get edited in the right ways for Google, for the website, for the ad copy, and again, have it done for people if that's what they're needing. So we've set it up this way because it was a constant problem that we constantly had feedback on. So if you're needing help with it, reach out to us, let us know. Happy to just get it done for you. And whether it's a quarterly thing you want to have set up, a one-off thing you want to have set up, we want to make sure that at least is getting done. So feel free to reach out if that is something that you're like, you know what, I'm tired. I've tried to get this done. I always push it aside. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you to just booking with us. Let us know, and we can make sure that we help you out with that effort there. So yeah, that is everything we kind of had to talk about today. And I'm grateful for all the questions and the information brought up. Hopefully this was valuable for you all in terms of the necessity of photos and how to go about building them. If you are still needing help in terms of, hey, my overall brand I feel like it's not very strong in my area, my competitors are blowing me out of the water, or I'm honestly not sure what they're doing, I would love to know, and how I'm kind of ranking against them. We do free strategy sessions where we audit yourself and the area and give you an idea of how things are performing. And all you have to do is reach out. You can call us, email us, go to our website, book a strategy session, scan the QR code, and get on the calendar. Our team will meet with you. We'll have research done beforehand. And that way, no matter what, regardless of if we can help you actively or not, you come away with some value of like, hey, at least I have an idea now of how I'm performing versus my peers. And these are some things that maybe I can do myself that I just never thought I needed to do before. But I know you all are busy. So that's where it gets to the point where sometimes, yes, it makes sense to have a team help and assist you in making sure that all those things you don't need to think about anymore. And you just know that they're going to get done. And so a free marketing checklist as well for those. I know we have the checklist in terms of, hey, this is what you need to do for Photoshoot, but here's a checklist in terms of across the board, all your marketing are the right things lined up and done or not. You can go, it's free download. That's straight off our website. Or if you go to this link, go.liftautorepairmarketing.com/marketing checklist, it'll take you straight to downloading that checklist that gets sent straight to your email. If you haven't already joined our Facebook group, please go ahead and do so. Just type in Auto Repair Shop Owners Mastermind in Facebook. It should, again, you'll see this little banner, or you can go straight to the link of Auto Repair Owners Mastermind, and you will be able to join the group completely free to join. We share regular tips and tricks and things in there, and other shop owners share their tips and tricks. So again, we try to create a good community that we share the up and up of what's going on, but then also shop owners are doing that themselves as well. So it's not just us sharing information there. We also have a book. My wife and I wrote a book. So Drive More Business, you can just grab that straight from Amazon, or if you read the Kindle, you can do it that way. But yeah, hopefully, again, this has been a helpful webinar. If you are still watching and you haven't liked and subscribed, please do so. That helps, again, just more people be able to see hopefully valuable information. And if you have any questions and things, please throw it down in the comments and I will make sure that I get those answered. For those that, again, attended live with me today, thank you so much for your time and taking time out of your day to spend it with me. And hopefully, again, we provided value here today. Would love your feedback afterwards in terms of things we can continue to do better and provide for the industry. But I'm Kelsey Rem with Lift Auto Repair Marketing, and we'll talk to you guys again next time. Bye.